Hello everyone, I'm Beatriz and my project is about Mexico and how to align politics and bureaucracy so that the federal and state-made promises can turn into results and people can increase their trust. So just a little background here, Mexico recorded over 33,000 homicides in 2024. That's 25.6 per 100,000 individuals. In comparison, the US rate is about 5.9 for 100,000, and that's with almost triple the population. So today I'll show how course concepts explain this gap and most importantly, what can be done about it. So I'll start with a quick country snapshot. We'll connect the case to Peter's concepts. I'll highlight some key findings and then focus on policy recommendations. After that, I'll finish with implementation of what success looks like. And bear with me, there will be some terminology in Spanish as I name institutions, but I will provide translations and explanations. So Mexico's politics and administration. Mexico is a federal presidential system with 32 entities and a well-institutionalized election authority. That would be the INE, Instituto Nacional Electoral, or the National Electoral Institute. Inside the executive, you have centralized secretariats and parastatal sector of decentralized agencies and state-owned firms. This sits outside the centralized administration, so the secretarías or ministries, and inside the parastatal sector. Some examples would be organismos descentralizados, such as IMSS or ISSSTE, and these are health agencies. Empresas de participación estatal mayoritaria or state majority companies, and empresas productivas del Estado or state productive enterprises such as Pemex, which they handle oil refineries and provide gasoline to the public. Public personnel is mixed. They can be unionized. There are base roles, political confianza or confidence roles, and a merit overlay called the SPC or Servicio Profesional de Carrera, which is their federal service, civil service merit system, and this is within the centralized executive branch. So in short, there's rules, but there's coordination required, and that determines performance. So here are some of the course tools that we're going to use. Steering versus rowing. Politicians set the direction and the agencies execute that, or they row. Politicization versus professionalization. Requiring visible change versus steady competence and performance. Principal agent, leaders reward what's easy to count, frontline staff adapt, and path dependence, yesterday's routine steer today's behavior, and FDCA, which stands for fragmentation, duplication, coordination, and accountability. Mexico's political culture is mixed or hybrid. People expect the center to lead. They trust election procedures, and they still solve a lot through relationships locally. That means that national promises are judged by local results. So policing, justice, and services where people live. Security is a bit of a system weakness. There have been several changes to the National Guard's command. This shift has determined who's in charge, and that creates churn. So on the ground, many hands may touch a single case, so we get fragmentation and a lot of duplication. And because metrics often favor arrests, then agencies prioritize activities that people can see, so what they can put out there in the media. This can create case lag and a lack of case resolution, and with cases slipping through the cracks. So that's the principal agent problem. Mexico does have formal integrity systems for audits and disclosures, anti-corruption, but their data is inconsistent. The subnational HR and budgeting capacity varies, so implementation is also inconsistent. On top of that, there's a low tax to GDP, and so limits are imposed pretty widely on their ability to invest. So in other words, without changing the incentives and information flows, things really begin to break down. So there's clear, like I said, unclear, uneven distribution of services, uneven budget capacity, and that low tax to GDP really limits the consistency of investment. So some recommendations for security and justice reform: standardized decision chain of command between the National Guard, state police, local police, joint investigators, align performance metrics to case outcomes, convictions, charges, and the quality of how the case was handled. Implement a centralized database so there's smooth transitions and an intact chain of custody for evidence and the case itself. So like I said, there's less cases slipping through the cracks. And more protection for local and state candidates for free and fair elections. Another recommendation: create an integrity data hub linking actions with outcomes, and be transparent about conflicts of interest and about the sanctions that may be implemented across different agencies. Make sure there's a lot of accountability. Require debriefs, public record access, professional and educational requirements as well, merit-based process, hire individuals in law enforcement, investigators, case managers, judicial members, require credentials and continuing education. Push for outcome-based standards in the judicial process, human-based AI integration, operational security, and make sure there are integrity measures, logs, oversight, audits, and accountability, but ensure that those are open records and transparent to everyone. So this roadmap looks like beginning change with a clear mission statement, a unified mission statement, and expectations. Build that electronic system for centralization and continuity for case management. Foster legitimacy and competence within the ranks and agencies. Work in audits and accountability along the way. Begin with 5 or less states as a test pilot for the program to maintain control. Expand to more states and phases until there's unification within the country. Bring new states into the fold with policy continuation by peer states, and publish results regularly. Show joint commitment to the public, strict oversight, and public accountability. Ensure there's prompt handling of cases. So success looks like more cases with timely charges, intact chain of custody for evidence, fewer duplicate interviews and tests, and a merit-based process, which will result in more qualified agents and administrators. Increased oversight and transparency to build more local trust in government. So we're also expecting fewer election period attacks, integrity issues resolved more quickly, more certified staff on the front lines, growth in local revenue, align the steering and rowing parties with accountability for better service and increased confidence, tighter and clear chain of command with defined roles for less fragmentation. So once our steering, rowing, and accountability all point in the same direction, Mexico's institutions will learn new habits and people will feel safer and better served. Thank you for your time.